The tech world's practically booming these days, and the sky's the limit, literally. After nearly mastering the Earth, innovators are now looking to the skies. Well beyond that, space. The infinite landscape of mystery that's the roof of our world. Well, they're gonna need power to do that. Can't go to the moon without your charger, right? Today, we'll be talking about how Stells, a startup, wants to put spacecraft charging rovers on the moon. First up, what is Stells planning? Well, ever since we got our first portable power bank, we haven't looked back. It's just an essential gadget you've got to have in your backpack when going out. The people over at Stells realized its importance and arrived at a revolutionary idea. Why not put portable chargers up on the moon so the landers and rovers roaming it to explore can charge back their power whenever they want to? That's a great idea. Stells was founded in 2021 in Toronto. It's being headed by its CEO, Alex Kapralov, and CTO, Ioussoupov. They're currently working on a Mobile Power Rover, MPR-1. This will be a rover that'll be able to wirelessly charge other spacecrafts on the moon. And they've already got a launch date for it aboard SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. It's predicted that it'll get to the moon sometime in January 2025. This wasn't what the people over at Stells had initially planned. They were more interested in the drilling industry on the moon, but their research led to the conclusion that developing a power supply for drilling on the moon is going to be way too expensive right now. So instead, Kapralov told TechCrunch that they decided to develop MPR-1 so that others could send over their rovers without having to worry about how they'd charge. MPR could do that. Next up, how's this going to be helpful for other spacecrafts? You're thinking that they've already got charging mechanisms, right? Well, yep. So spacecraft get their power from either solar energy or from RTG, which stands for radioisotope thermoelectric generators. Solar's simple. They've just got panels attached to their surface to help them recharge from the sun's energy whenever needed. But here's the problem. Craters don't always get sunlight, and so a spacecraft in one might get stuck if it runs out of power while in a dark crater. Also, solar panels really do tend to spread out. They need a lot of space, and in the future, we'll have much smaller rovers with not enough space to carry them. Like NASA's working on exploratory machines called Cooperative Autonomous Distributed Robotic Explorers, and they won't be any bigger than a shoebox. With RTG, you're not reliant on sunlight, but it uses plutonium-238's radioactive decay. This costs much more. Plus, a lot of explorers are going to be moonbound soon, and they're all going to need power, so Stell's plan is totally going to be helpful to keep them charged for all that exploring without being limited by the drawbacks of solar and RTG. Following up, how's Stells going to manage such a huge innovation? They've got it all figured out. According to Kapralov, they're going to develop a WCB, or a wireless charging box. It's going to be exactly what it sounds like, a box that can deliver power. Here's how it's going to happen. WCB is going to get charged through solar panels. Right, now you're probably going to point out that it's already a problem. They can't charge stuff in craters. Well, the solar panels will be put on the rim of the crater, and power lines from it will be run all the way to the floor of the crater where the WCB will be placed. It'll store the energy in batteries fitted into it. It'll then send this stored energy out to the other lunar craft through wireless transmission. The rovers receiving charging from it will need special ports to be fitted into them, and they'll also be able to find the WCB by using visual navigation or a beacon. Whoa, that's a pretty neat solution. Also, the complete absence of atmosphere will make the wireless charging part very efficient. So when's Stells sending them up there? We'll have to hold our horses here. The first mission will be a demonstration for the WCB. So far, the company's been conducting experiments on Earth, without funding, with prototypes. But Kapralov says they're going to be looking into funds for the launch and future development. Next up, are there a whole lot of rovers on the moon that need charging? Well, the short answer's gotta be no, there aren't. But the long answer is that, yes, there's gonna be many in the future. There's been a great push in scientific circles to explore the moon further by sending spacecraft up there. But the whole process is very complex and requires a lot of money. For the past 20 years, this is being worked on, but we don't have a lot of results to show for it. Google started a competition called Lunar X Prize, in which companies were supposed to develop moon rovers for a whopping $20 million grand prize. 5 teams got contracts to launch, but the competition was closed without a winner in the end. But many of the teams are still working on their technology. The industry's developing for sure, and each step takes them a bit closer to space landing. For the time being, there's hope that many companies, including Stells, will make their way to the moon in the future. Many other startups along with Stells are looking to the sky for their new ventures. Moving on, here's a list of 10 innovative startups to look out for. At number 10, there's Skyroot Aerospace. Based off in Hyderabad, India, with a staggering $19.4 million funding in its pocket, Skyroot Aerospace is working on reliable and cost-effective ways to help people and objects get to space. In short, cargo to space is the goal for this startup. Currently, they're working on 3 separate launch vehicles with varying characteristics and capacities of conveyance. Next up, number 9 is Mission Space. This startup actually monitors the weather conditions of the solar system. How cool is that? Weather in the solar system isn't rain or sunshine. Rather, you get things like solar and geomagnetic radiation storms. From their headquarters in Latvia, they keep an eye out for conditions in space that could have an effect on human-built systems, such as power blackouts, satellite disturbances, and electrical grid damage. Moving on, Pixels at number 8. The people over at Pixel are working to develop and launch a group of satellites that'll look at the Earth 24/7 and will monitor her health. This means that these satellites will have the ability to scour her surface for continuous data to detect abnormalities and report the conditions. The California-based startup's totally on its way to do it with $8 million in funding already gathered. Next up, number 7's Bellatrix Aerospace. Along with an awesome name, this startup's based in India with a total current funding of $3 million. The company's already got a partnership with the European Space Agency, and next year it'll be working to test its state-of-the-art rocket propulsion systems. That's their field area, propulsion systems. Following at number 6, there's Leaf Space. This startup will connect you to space by providing you with ground segment services. This way, you've got multiple locations on the ground to keep monitoring your orbiting satellite. It's a great option for companies working on getting to space with limited funds. It's based in Milan, Italy, with a received total current funding of $6 million. Coming up, it's Soulstorm at number 5. This Norwegian company's working on keeping space clear of space junk. With its cutting-edge methods, the people at Soulstorm dispose the remaining parts of a satellite that are just lingering in the orbit after its lifespans run out. This way, there are clear skies and clean pathways for other space explorers. Not to mention, there's D-Cube-D at number 4. This German enterprise is developing actuators that can be used in nanosatellites to help commercialize the space industry. These components are extremely critical for units deployed in space so that all systems are go and under control at all times. Following up, it's ICEYE at number 3. This Finnish startup's monitoring the Earth too, with a mighty funding of $177 million. This company's developing a constellation of super agile and observant satellites. These will be able to track fast objects on Earth, probabilistically predict natural disasters, and keep an eye out for national threats. Coming up at number 2, there's Mylin S, a British company that's working on a sort of operating system that'll work as the brain for robots on Earth and in space. Basically, it's involved in software development that'll help the robots work independently. They also plan to include the ability to help these robots cooperate with humans. They'll be providing the robots with decision-making power too. Whoa, that's almost sci-fi-ish. Well, this technology will help advance space exploration for sure. Finally, at number 1, it's the Exploration Company, headquartered in Germany. This startup plans to democratize exploration. It's working on a vehicle that'll be manufactured with the ability to refuel in orbit while carrying cargo. It's anticipated that this technology will also be able to take humans around for an orbiter to the moon and back. The vehicle has an interface that encourages other companies that can build on it and develop other applications. There's a lot of hustle and bustle to get to space, folks. Who knows? Maybe the day isn't far when it'll be just a usual trip. That's a wrap for this video. Are you excited about humans having a greater access to space? Which one of these did you think was the strangest? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.